So while these guys are setting up, it's my turn to welcome you guys all here. Thank you for coming. And thank you, Jeff, for catering to our every whim and need this entire quarter. Kristen is amazing. She stayed up with us all night last night and has been in the lab entirely too much for her own good. So thank you, Kristen. While these guys are getting this underway, let me go ahead and introduce everybody. On the far left is Patrick Johnson, who is our networking guru. He's done some pretty fancy stuff with our network that lets you connect automatically and find games anywhere on the internet. Next is Jerome, who is responsible for some of our really cool shading effects and graphical knickknacks. Next up is Ardavan Ghalebi, who is responsible for our models and most of our artwork. Next is our physics god, Jay Chan. Immediately to my left here is Tamir, who is the man behind the curtain. He is responsible for making everything work. So if you like something, it's probably his. I'm Martin Dubcovsky. I also help pull together some of the low-level code and graphics primarily. So let's get this going. A couple of volunteers to help this go. Go for it. Go for it. All right. Awesome. So what you see here is the character selection screen, which lets you choose your character color and your hovercraft type, which will become imperatively more obvious in a moment. There are 4 types of hovercraft which give you really specific types of gameplay. The first hovercraft is simply an average all-around craft which gives you the best of all worlds. That's normalcy. Next up is Sibi, which is optimized for speed. Next is Shooty, which takes a lot more damage and deals a lot more damage. Fast rapid play for killing all your enemies. And finally is Beefcakey, our very own tank. He takes damage and deals it out, moves kind of slowly, but it's worth the wait. Our world is a very small world. It's designed for fast action and lots of crazy interactions with rockets flying everywhere, bouncing weapons. It's meant to be a really short arcade game, and that's the feel that we went for, and I think we really accomplished that. Tamir here is going to join the game real quick. He's choosing Shooty. What you see here is our chat system at work. So if you guys will all just ready up, let's get the game going. So our world is a first-person shooter with camera supports that lets you go out to third person, as you see here. Basically what you see here, you're just on one plane right now, but the cube lets you actually interact on any face of the cube. So Tamir, if you'll demonstrate, you can climb up on any obstacle and go in any direction that you want, which allows for some great interactivity. What you also notice around the landscape are turrets, which are AI controlled and which can be controlled by the character to work in their favor. So if Tamir will go over one real quick, you'll see that it turns to his color and now we'll fight only opponents. You'll notice a lot of weapons flying everywhere. So Patrick, if you'll give Tamir God mode for a moment, we can really show off this stuff. So now Tamir is invincible with you'll notice here that on the right-hand side of the screen you see health bars which indicate how hurt Tamir is. He can't get hurt anymore now that he's in God mode, so he's safe to roam the world. Below that is an icon describing what weapon he currently has selected, and if you'll scroll through a couple of those. Right now this is sniper, mines. I'll talk about all these in a moment. Spread gun. Pretty much speaks for itself. Below the weapon icon is a boost bar, which lets you temporarily speed up to make short charges at your enemies, close range. You'll notice on the left-hand side of the screen is a list of other icons. These are your power-ups that you have collected. There's a number of power-ups that let you gain temporary abilities for a short time. This His abilities include speed, which will help you move faster. There's health power-ups, which will heal your craft. There's damage multipliers. There's a berserk mode, which lets you speed up the rate of your attacks and makes you a deadly opponent. We also have some pretty mean power-ups, such as slow, which will make everybody else in the world slow down to a crawling halt so you can destroy them. There are some interesting power-ups, such as Matrix mode. Tamir, you'll that real quick. Which lets you go into bullet time. Slows down everything, bullets, the world, everything. Lets you terrorize your enemies before they have a chance of striking back. You'll notice that the cube obstacles in the center are constantly changing colors. This is sort of to help enhance the feel of immediacy in the game. We wanted a really fast action game, and a changing environment really gave us control of that. Not only are the colors changing, but you'll also notice that cubes are appearing throughout the world and constantly changing the outline. So there you just saw sniper mode in effect. Did you show them the... So you can, while in sniper mode, you can activate a short matrix timer which will slow down your opponents and let you really hone in on them. You'll notice each of the different crafts has a different model to help you recognize what your opponent is and who you're fighting and how you should respond appropriately. That's thanks to Ardavan. This is a homing weapon. It bounces off all the walls and takes up more damage as it bounces. The more times it bounces off the wall, the more damage it will inflict on your opponents. It can also damage you, so you have to be a little careful. Here Tamir is showing our grapple gun, which lets you move to any wall you choose. Makes for a great getaway weapon. Pretty much all the artwork, sound effects, music, everything you see here was pretty much cooked up in base. Ardavan made all our models. Jay is responsible for most of our music recording. Sound effects were partially handcrafted. From the very get-go, we knew that we wanted a game that was going to emphasize gameplay over visual status, because we did not have the graphical and artistic background to really make this work in any other way. So you'll notice that the gameplay is really what we focused on. There's a lot of elements that change up the gameplay moment to moment. If you could pick up invisibility power. So Tamir now has invisibility, which means turrets can no longer track him and homing missiles will not find him either. He's still slightly visible to players, so they can find him and track him down, but he is unable to interact with the turrets, he cannot capture them, and they will not shoot him down. You'll also notice that he has two other power-ups. At the very top is speed, which is increasing his movement a little bit. Here is the homing weapon, which is quite deadly. This is a health power-up. It'll slowly heal Tamir's health up over time. That is, if he's not getting hit. little bit about the power-ups now that are coming up on the left-hand side of the screen. At the very top is Heal, which is healing him. Next is a Damage Multiplier. Below that is Stone Form, which is making Tamir move a little slower, but makes him a lot more resistant to damage. Below that is Berserk Mode, which, as I mentioned before, lets him fire a lot faster, move a little bit faster, and deal a little bit more damage. You'll notice that as the turrets are being destroyed, they randomly appear throughout the world. Once again, neutral, ready to be captured. Every phase is fair game, so they'll appear just about anywhere, even upside down on cubes. One of the things that makes our game so interesting is that because you have a full arena like this, you may be trying to chase your enemy down without realizing that you have somebody chasing you right behind, because you have a full 360 degree of threat all around you, so you have to be constantly aware of the world around you. And that's just gotta be one of the coolest things ever. Right there indicates that he is being sniped on currently. My apologies, Matrix mode. Right there was two hovercrafts going head to head. You can actually push your enemies, even push them into mines like Tamir is showing that there. For the multiple camera views is that the world is fairly confusing as it is, and we wanted to give players the chance to configure their look as much as possible, give them control over the way they look at the world. that's the end of the game right there. So what you see here is hope you guys like it.